right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddies in the flesh, Chuck.
Hey now.
Wearing, is that a Kawhi Leonard? No. Oh, Dwayne Wade, a Dwayne Boyd. He's wearing a Dwayne Boyd t-shirt.
These braids are way too patterned. They don't go straight back. They got zigzags.
These Boyds are made for
walking.
Yeah. And through the miracle of computer phone, John Burr.
Oh, hi there.
John, how are you? Where are you?
I am in Lake Chautauqua, Georgia.
That sounds like a curse word.
Oh, kind of did.
I don't know what it means in Mohican. I think it means resort community.
Place to take white men money.
Are you in your parents' RV again? You called from an RV last week.
No, I'm at my parents' home this time.
Oh, just in the house. Okay.
Tight.
That works.
They're all out on the pontoon boat being as white as possible.
Dang, listening to what? Who they listening to?
Alan Jackson?
I wish it was something. My parents are the worst, man. My parents have hipster taste at age 60-something.
What are they, like Bon Iver?
My dad listens to like my mom listens to stuff like that. Yes, Iron and Wine, Bon Iver, stuff like that. And my dad listens to like really good, like quote unquote good bluegrass or new.
Yeah.
So no, it's way worse. I would much rather
Nickel Creek. See,
Steel Drivers.
I'd much rather listen to Boot Scoot and Boogie on my pontoon boat as opposed to like Yo-Yo Ma and Bella Fleck.
Shania.
Does your mom have an opinion on the new Vampire Weekend?
Most assuredly.
My mom listens.
Probably the same as yours, Keith.
You know what my mom listens to in the car? Cassette tapes of rosaries being prayed by famous Catholics.
Carmen?
Literally. No. That's too mainstream. She only listens to the rosary in her car.
Is there no more Purgatory? Is Purgatory still around?
Oh yeah.
Is hell gone?
No.
I thought one of the popes said one of them's gone.
Pope? No, the new pope's basically Presbyterian.
The Jude Law?
Yeah. He looks that one.
Is it the Jude Law? Does he smoke them cigs?
No, this one's from Argentina.
What if the Pope smokes cigs?
And he's like super cool, and he thinks everything but abortion is kind of like debatable.
Right. It's debatable.
Yeah. Like, we can have a conversation about...
It's a slide.
Right.
It's a spectrum.
But we need to hold on to
I just totally fell into my I must be near my parents thing where you guys started talking about, like, religion came up or even something slightly religious came up. So I just stopped listening and picked up my phone.
I think it's really good. if you knowing not to speak up is good, I think.
Yeah, for once in my life.
Finally.
Breakfast. Chuck, did you have breakfast?
Yeah, I had a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch again, but I used chocolate milk this
again.
time.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Did you go regular milk, chocolate syrup?
No.
I have done that in my day.
My son loves chocolate milk, so I keep it on deck.
That's pretty good.
And threw it in the old Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the goat cereal.
That's awesome. John, did you have a good breakfast?
I did not have I had one of the most miserable breakfasts you can have. So we are driving this morning very early in a Toyota Prius. It's the last working vehicle we have that we just got fixed because it had the most. By the way, if your Toyota Prius check engine light comes on, there's another light that's worse than the check engine light. That is a 3 inches tall exclamation point with a triangle around it that scares you.
Just an emoji.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
That sounds like actually you just hit your flashers.
Yeah. So basically,
you might have just had your flashers on.
It looks like that, but it's even larger than that. But it is pretty much like the same thing. It's a giant emblazoned on your console, and we fixed that. Turns out it's almost nothing.
Yeah,
but just too scary to even drive, so you tow it to the place.
My Toyota Corolla has a check engine light that comes on, as a maintenance needed light that comes on, which just comes on every couple months, to say go get an oil change. Right. That's all it's for. And then there's the check engine, which is the more serious. But I was getting my oil changed, and I was like, hey, can you reset this, this annoying maintenance needed light? And the lady helping was like, yeah. And she just pressed down one of the buttons besides the odometer. You just hold it down.
Yeah, for like
You just
15
hold it down for like
seconds.
10 seconds, and that went away. I'm like, that's it?
Some GM cars, you have
I'm like,
to
what in the world?
pump the brake 4 times while it's in like a weird key position. And
I thought you had to
reset it.
access some like USB thing
you
or
know,
some
like,
computer.
There was a YouTube rabbit hole for sure.
Oh,
needed your,
she,
like,
she pressed that down like I was an idiot, and I was like, "That's it." She's like, "Yeah."
But it led to we have all of the pets, the dogs,
Oh,
are in the car.
Oh, in the Prius.
And they are
Yes.
not. None of them are tiny.
Two of them, two of them are huge.
And then there's a dachshund that's
Right, because we used to podcast
Kinda
in your
overweight.
menagerie of a home.
Yes,
I didn't want to. I'd
they're
never
all
want
like right outside, sniffing outside my dad's studio door. I'm waiting for them to ruin everything.
I never brought this up at John's house, but his dachshund has gotten Bobby. It's gotten big.
Got a little,
I'm worried about
got a little heavy.
worried about his,
yes.
his health.
You gotta. That's the owner. You gotta.
I mean, John,
you gotta feed him.
I'm pet shaming you.
Oh, you
Well,
pet.
the
Pet
fat shaming can continue because so
Fat
we
pet
can't
shaming.
stop anywhere
Yeah.
to eat.
Uh-huh.
And also, my
no.
girlfriend doesn't need to eat.
Oh,
I
easy,
don't
John.
understand it.
Oh,
She
oh,
doesn't-
I'm sorry. I misread that. I misread that statement. She doesn't require food. That's what you're saying.
Right.
I thought we were
No,
shaving.
she
Keep
doesn't
going. I'm
ever
sorry.
eat. I don't know when she's eating. but
That's
she's
my
eating,
mistake.
She's eating in secret and never on trips.
Yeah.
She has like a bag of like healthy snacks that look like stuff that gerbils eat. And she'll just like slyly put it up to her mouth. I don't even see her consume it.
Yeah.
Just disappears. She might be snorting it. I don't know. So I can't eat. So I'm trapped in this Toyota Prius with all these animals. So my only choice is that when we stop to get gas, I go in and pretend to use the bathroom, and I like eat a candy bar walking around the store. Because I can't just get a candy bar.
yeah,
'Cause then
'cause
I'll just get like what Chuck just did to me,
You get in
to my
trouble.
dogs.
Right.
She'll do to me.
Right. Yeah.
So I walk around the store.
Nothing like eating a candy bar in shame in a gas station bathroom.
And then when I get to the car,
That was.
have
I
to
think
pay
that's
for it,
that
though.
might have been in Train Spotting actually.
she immediately asks if I was in there eating candy.
Well, you forgot to wipe your mouth, dude. I've seen you eat.
I don't know what I did. I
smelled
hid
like
behind
nougat.
I
Yeah,
hid
man, you
behind,
had nougat breath.
I hid behind like a sunglasses kiosk spin rack, eating it.
Oh, my!
I checked in the mirror for signs of payday.
My breakfast. I had cinnamon rolls and scrambled eggs.
I hate you guys.
I took my kids. I took my 4.5-year-old and my 1.5-year-old to my parents' house, trying to get them accustomed to having my kids overnight
Right.
because they've never taken them overnight.
Really?
No. My wife's parents have done it.
Right.
They've taken the older boy, many times.
Yeah.
He's never spent the night at my parents' house, and they live close. They live 30 minutes away from Nashville.
Yeah.
So I went over there last night to spend the night with my parents. Give the wife, a night off, kind of have some fun there. But anyway, they made breakfast. It was good.
Lit.
My parents are not. This will not surprise John or Chuck. They're not very outgoing emotionally. They didn't equip me with an emotional toolkit
Right.
necessarily.
Right.
I've caught up some, like we talked about since I had kids. Like I now have emotions, and it's really difficult. It's like Data learning to love and handle whatever the new information. But so like my son is very sensitive 4-year-old, and he likes to have a bedtime story read to him, and he's like, "Let's play a game." He's like, "Grandmama, Granddaddy, let's play a game." That's what my parents have asked to be called. It's Grandmama, Granddaddy, let's play a game. Everyone line up in the room, and whoever wants to read me the bedtime story, you say, "Pick me." And so he does this with me and my he does it with me and my wife, and we're like, "Pick me, pick me, pick me." We say it immediately.
Right.
So he goes, "So whoever wants to read my bedtime story, say, pick me." Dead silence.
Dead.
Yeah.
And then my 4-year-old says, "You say pick me now." And I'm sitting there like this would be a great time for Grandmama, Granddaddy to like act like you want to read him his bedtime story. But they're both being like, "I don't really want to do that." And they're kind of making a joke about it. Where I'm like, this is not the time, I don't think. I think it'd be great just to yell, "Pick me now." So finally, they start playing it. My parents start playing like, "Oh, what are we saying? Like, what are we supposed to say?" And they play it off. And so eventually I say, pick me. And then he's like, Dad, I get to do my books because Grandma, my granddaddy didn't say pick me. I'm sitting there like, am I have to talk with my parents about like,
yes.
could you please just say it was a very simple thing to make the kid feel loved?
This was your chance to have a night off, and they let you down.
Right. Well, so what ended up happening was my son changed his mind. He said, Granddaddy, actually, I'm going to pick you to do books. So he made my granddaddy do the books. So I don't think it's going to affect my kid that much. But it seemed like a very simple thing, and it also was like it understood where I came from, where they're making a joke like they don't want to do it, but not the best time for a joke. Just say pick me to the kid. But anyway, that was.
You guys? Were your grandparents? Did they do stuff like that? My grandparents did not do stuff like that.
I didn't. I only had a relationship with. I had my mom's mom and my dad's mom. Never knew my granddad's and. No, they were pretty cool. They both passed away when I was in high
That's what
school.
the good old granddads did. Yeah. They just died before they ever
met
right.
I met my mom's mom. She came to Florida once, and all she did was go to the bingo on the Seminole Indian Reservation and chain smoke cigarettes.
Damn straight.
And then I went to Ireland for her 80th birthday, but I didn't ever talk to her because it was her 80th birthday, and she chain smoked cigarettes, so everybody was super impressed.
That she made it to 80.
No, like it was the biggest thing. And she had 12 kids, and it was like a big reunion. And yeah, Granny Jordan. Shout out. Shout out Mary Jordan.
Makes you never die.
Oh my God, she's not gonna. My mom's the same way. She doesn't eat.
Kids, you die like decent, like 56 years old.
Yeah,
drop dead while working.
Ooh, John, what if your girlfriend is secretly a Muslim and she's practicing Ramadan behind your back? That could be a thing. That's why she doesn't eat.
She's doing something, man.
She's got that Innis cancer fatigue level right now.
That's what I'm saying.
And the shame I get for expressing the desire to eat.
Anyway, those were our breakfast. After our breakfast, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on any previous episode. It is often, frequently, the first time we talk about the NBA. Does anyone have anything they need to apologize for?
Bucks, I'm sorry.
Yeah, John?
I'm sorry that I feel like we all prematurely cashed that ticket when they got up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, John...
America did.
John, didn't you and me pick the Raptors to go to the finals when the playoffs began?
We did, but the cognoscenti collectively was like, oh, man.
Yeah, we backed off that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, it was like the Bucks were in, and just as soon as they were in, Bucks were gone. It was really weird. Like, no one knew how to react.
I mean, a lot of first times happened there. The first time they lost 3 games in a row, obviously, and 4 in a row. So all that stuff, you throw it all out, and the playoffs happened, and Kawhi's showed his transcendence, and Nick Nurse put out a great game plan to limit Giannis.
I was going to say the first time we've seen Mike Budenholzer underperform in the playoffs. Oh, no, it's not.
He does that.
I mean, it's fine, though.
Great game plan just means put out Kawhi Jordan.
No, they did some cool things to stop Giannis with other people other than Kawhi.
They formed a wall, man.
They formed that firkin' wall.
They formed that firkin' wall. Yeah, I mean, they had Marc Gasol back there. The guys couldn't shoot on the Bucks.
Right.
Giannis couldn't throw accurate enough passes when they double teamed him.
So, I also want to take the opportunity to apologize for not making more Brooke Lopez, Chief Brody versus Mark the Shark, Great White Shark jokes.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I had my shot, but I honestly, I'm still. I'll keep the apology train rolling. I do not watch full Raptors games because I cannot.
You're too emotional.
Because
you get Drake,
and it's like very confusing emotions because there's a part of me that wants Mark to do well. There's a part of me that wants Mark to get off my television. There's a part of me that's like, wow, Mark is being really intrinsic to what they are doing. There's a part of me that goes, man, Mark isn't nearly as good as I thought he was, or as important as I thought he was. So I just sit there the only time I've felt like pure positive emotion is when they bounced the Sixers and Mark was such a good guy.
Right he was hugging Embiid and all that.
Yeah. And that's another thing about Marc Gasol. Like, it's very like when you get to know a player to the level, when you follow a player for a really long time. I'm sure Chuck feels this way about certain Heat players. When you just know them, like there was never a doubt in my mind. Like when there was like, briefly there was Marc Gasol coach killer for Fizdale. We knew Marc Gasol was like, no, this isn't a Marc Gasol problem. Like the fact that Marc is speaking up means that this organization has run itself into the ground. And when Marc wanted to be traded, it was like, oh dear God, the Grizzlies are the worst organization. It's just it's that kind of signposts. So it's kind of weird. But him finally like saying this is for Tony, kind of.
Oh yeah, he said it's for
Tony,
me
and Zebo,
Mike and Zebo.
Yeah. It's giving me the permission to go all in.
Oh
yeah.
So I'm like full Raptors support now, even though I really do enjoy, much like Keith, I'm a monster and I really enjoy the KD-less Warriors.
I can't decide if when I watch Marc Gasol, if I'm just so biased, like he's my child and I'm watching him play 4-year-old soccer. Because I thought Marc Gasol was pretty awesome in this series, despite the fact that I think he shot 15% in the games in Milwaukee. Without exaggeration, I think he was 4 for 26 in games 1, 2, and 5 combined. But I thought his defense was awesome. There was a couple times where I thought he kind of punked Brook Lopez.
Right.
Where like Lopez, because that game was really fun where Gasol was actually running Lopez off the line. And so you saw plays where both Lopez and Gasol were dribbling the ball way more than you ever see them because they were trying to penetrate because the teams were running them off the line. And there's a couple times where like Gasol got him to put his dribble down and then just yanked the ball away. And I'm like, that's my guy. Yeah. And then I'd be like, he's 1 for 6 this game.
And Mark's double help on Giannis was big.
Oh, it was so many times that Giannis drove and just ran into Gasol, and Gasol was there, and the referees didn't want to give him his 5th or 6th foul.
Yeah.
It was insane. Mark shot 42% from 3 and still found a way to shoot like 32% from the field.
Yeah, so it's crazy in that series that the Raptors ended up winning with Gasol, like I said, was 4 for 26 in the 3 games in Milwaukee. And for the entire series, the entire 6-game series, Danny Green was 6 for 32 from the field. Just period.
Right.
He was 6 for 32. That's 19% from the field. So my apology goes to one of the reasons that the Raptors won. It's Fred VanVleet. I mean, I was ragging on him. Mm-hmm. I was ragging on him because he was pulling off that Corey Joseph run.
Yeah.
He put together 15 of the worst basketball games you ever seen.
Daddy VanVleet, though.
It turns out he was just anxious about that second baby being born.
About it.
Do we know what his first baby's named? Because he named his second baby Fred Jr., and that was the magic trick for him.
I'm guessing it's the son. It's the Lion King syndrome. I think he probably had a daughter.
Oh,
just Fred Jr. and Fredward.
Fredward. Fred
VanVleet, like Van Morrison. He's a huge fan.
Vleet.
What do you name can you name another boy? Alfred?
Yeah.
Alfred.
Or Fleek on Van Fleet.
Fred Rich.
Redmond.
Like that. Anyway, but so Fred VanVleet, I was putting down, and it's been discussed a lot since the birth of his baby last Monday. He was 14 of 17 from 3. It's the best. I think it was the best stretch
since Danny Green, probably.
I think it was the best stretch ever over
really?
When you want to look up a 17-shot sample, that's pretty obscure. But him shooting 82% in those last 3 games, it's honestly that's the variable that caused now the storylines to be like, well, Budenholzer didn't really come through. Like Bledsoe, you can't depend on him. Middleton's not your second best guy. You can't be your second best guy if you're going to win some stuff. Like just that variable of Fred VanVleet getting hot might have been the reason that the Raptors win. So I'm sorry for putting you down, Fred. You shoved it in my face, and I loved it. I was pacing around my house, jumping up and down, John, because I am not tethering or I'm not restricting my emotional attachment to Marc Gasol. I am just all aboard the Raptors.
I shouldn't be. I'm just such a terrible person that I can't even feel happy for someone I have loved as much as Marc Gasol.
I mean, I remember when Wade went to Chicago and they got kicked out in the first round.
Did that hurt?
Dwayne Wade is like a miserable goober, though.
I loved watching that.
You were cheering for that. Yeah. I
thought he was a sleeper agent.
I did not want the Lakers to do well with Pau Gasol because I'd kind of soured on Pau at that point, and I hated the Lakers. I never hated the Raptors, so it was easy I felt like we were doing Mark like a solid by getting him out of Memphis.
Yeah,
It does suck that we got so little still, though.
We got DeLon Wright.
and you got a 20-10 guy.
Stop that.
Who cost too
Stop
much.
that.
DeLon Wright's 5-year real adjusted plus minus is plus 3.27. That's really good. Shout out Nate Walker on Twitter.
I can like name like a player off of every NBA team that you would start over DeLon Wright.
No, that's true. I'm not.
Let's just go through the. Here,
I'm
gonna
happy
take the
Mark
last
moved on.
guy off
Mark
of the
is
Bucks.
not
Would you
opting in.
start-
We got flexibility. No, we
Who
didn't.
you start Pat Connaughton or DeLon Wright?
No, well, do I need a
Tony
two
Snell or
or
DeLon Wright? You're starting Tony Snell over DeLon Wright. Mark it down.
Well, it depends if I have a point guard.
It's true.
If I don't have a point guard, no, it wasn't a big return. Chuck, did you have an apology?
Yeah, I thought Eric Bledsoe was good, and then he was good, and then he wasn't good, and I don't know if he's worth $15 million.
Here, a lot of,
But I don't care.
I was talking about this on the last show. Chuck, you and me were like wondering if they should have extended him.
Right.
I think the Bucks might need to trade him to a team that isn't a championship contender.
Right.
Eric Bledsoe is well prepared to rock a regular season and not be needed in crucial playoff games.
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls, take him into space, baby. just take him. The Bucks are going to have serious cap issues this offseason. They have to choose how much money to give Middleton, whether they're going to retain Brogdon, whether or not they can keep Brook Lopez, whether or not they want to try to keep Nikola did not play coach's decision Mirotic.
What happened with that?
I also think that Buds needs more blame for the Bledsoe situation too, because I thought the way that they brought Brogdon back in was deleterious to the whole team.
Well, the whole defense.
Even though I like Brogdon,
the whole defense was set up to give Bledsoe's, the 3-point shot.
They were giving him the whatever,
and
the Tony Allen, the Marc Gasol. Just we're not going to guard
and make
you,
sure he
shoot.
doesn't get into the lane and be able to penetrate, and that was it. And when you have a player like Giannis who also can't shoot, it makes it easier for a good defense with guys like Mark and Kawhi and Danny Green to figure out your stuff. And he that was it. And I don't know if he can, unless he can start shooting threes, he's going to be a liability for them on the offensive side.
Yeah.
Maybe he can run the
I just think
second
we
team.
know enough now that he doesn't have it. He's
Maybe
not,
he could be
not a
like-
16-game player.
Maybe he could be like a bench guy and like the Giannis off the bench for them, and they can do stuff similar with Giannis because they have similar skill sets. Both of them are incredible going towards the basket with speed. So
I guess I
don't know.
just don't see the NBA nerds outlook where everyone's like, "Oh man, the Bucks can't really change the roster very much. They're screwed. They just won the most games."
Well, they're not screwed.
Right. I don't think that's the case either.
I think it was.
What's wrong? What's wrong with running it back with these guys?
No,
should.
but that is their best case scenario. But even if they run it back, they probably can't keep George Hill. His salary is only $1 million guaranteed for next season.
Okay.
George Hill, who outplayed Brogdon and Bledsoe.
Sure.
So
Brogdon played pretty well.
He did play pretty well. I'm just saying. I think George Hill is 7th in win shares in the playoffs.
I feel like okay, George Hill had a great last veteran run in the playoffs, but moving forward, Eric Bledsoe kind of concentrates on being a defensive stopper and a guy that you can rely on from scoring from time to time. Malcolm Brogdon continues to improve and become maybe the point guard of the future. I don't see. I feel like Bucks seem fine to me.
Well, they're not in trouble. No one's saying they're in trouble. Chuck is apologizing that Eric Bledsoe he thought was good.
I thought he was good, and then he had a good game. I think game 5 he was balling.
He was fine.
He was fine.
He scored 20 points, but he also
to him. But like as far and then I immediately was like in that final game was just like it was obvious he was the squeaky wheel.
He was a squeaky.
Eric Bledsoe, other than Giannis, is the only guy with like plus minus in the positive for them.
That's not to say he doesn't develop a 3-point game and he turns into a thing.
Yeah, what's wrong? I guess what I'm saying. What's wrong with rolling it back?
Let's do that. I'm not saying
they're not.
How they do that is interesting.
But the issue is they almost certainly can't bring back this squad without going into the luxury tax, and we don't know if they're going to.
And
do
I'd
the
be
luxury tax.
interested in seeing what Milwaukee as a city provides as a free agent destination like that.
Yeah, because they're not going to be able to bring anyone. Again, they're not going to bring anyone in. This is what we're saying.
Yeah.
This is the team. It's good. This is a historically good regular season team. And again, no shame losing in the finals to a team that was just 2 games behind you. They got like a Michael Jordan performance from Kawhi Leonard. Anyway, those
so talk out both sides of my mouth. I would be more worried about Brook Lopez continuing to do what he's doing as opposed to anyone else.
Well, that was the question we were talking in our Slack today. Like, what is Brook Lopez going to get? It seems like the center market is just flush with different options this offseason. One of the reasons it would be crazy for Jonas Valanciunas to opt out of his deal. There's so many options at center, but Brook Lopez, after pulling off this last season where he got more blocks than KG ever did in a season, and he hit more threes than Kobe ever did in a season.
Right.
So
is that real?
Yeah, that's real. So if him coming off the season seems like one of the few guys who might get a offer north of $10 million a season, and that's going to make it again hard for the Bucks to keep both Middleton and Brogdon. So
I don't know if I know Brolo had that insane season, but I feel like if anything, teams will, if there's going to be an adjustment, it will be less to Giannis Antetokounmpo and more to a player like Brook Lopez.
Right.
Because you really can't have your center playing that style of game and have like success against the best teams in the league, I feel. But they did it this year and won 1 billion games. So if they can keep doing that, and I don't see what Brook Lopez has made his money, right? He does not need to go seeking.
Well, he made a lot of money, but he's been playing for cheap for at least the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like
he might be trying.
He made nothing on the Lakers, and then he made like $5 million last year, which is way under market. I mean, it depends how much of his money he's like blown on Kevin Smith's comic book collection.
Trips to Disney World.
Right.
How many times has he seen Aladdin, you think? Set the over-under.
He was on the soundstage when they filmed it.
That's great.
Speaking of Aladdin, you know who Aladdin reminds me of? Roni Turiaf. I just don't know why. Every time I see Will Smith as Aladdin, I think of Roni.
Oh, Will Smith as a genie.
As the genie, not Aladdin.
It's Aladdin's monster.
Yeah, sorry.
It's not Aladdin. It's Aladdin's.
It's Aladdin's monster.
Remember when Roni Turiaf was revealed to be the NBA's smelliest player?
All right, those were our breakfast in bed apologies. Before we move to our steak and eggs best things, we have a few listener submitted questions. The croissant. Questioner.
Any questions?
Yes. Are you going to finish that croissant?
Knock yourself out.
Croissant.
Chair Bear asks, Kawhi Leonard is a modest man. How do you think he celebrated the Raptors advancing to their first NBA Finals in franchise history? But most of that was cut away, and then Boban was written in.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a note. So, Chuck, just read the typed question, not the things I'm thinking of in my notes in the margin.
Cool. Chuck's like Ron Burgundy with a telephone.
Yeah, Chuck just Ron Burgundy the question.
I mean, it's underlined. It looked important. Anyway, and then Nate Walker was there.
I'll tell you what Kawhi did. He walked down into his basement. He has a sledgehammer in hand. He walks into his basement and begins to pound the concrete. Revealed under the concrete, the special toolkit, let's call it, filled with gold bullion and 9mm ammunition, parabellum, that he's going to use to shoot the Warriors in the head. That's how he celebrated his victory.
John, I'm sorry you're unavailable for the Ground Chuck Patreon exclusive bonus podcast where we did discuss the world of John Wick 1 and 2.
I'm going to watch 3 tomorrow, and then I'm going to me and Burr will do a Wick 3.
A Wick 3 follow-up.
Because Burr is astounded by my John Wick takes.
Yeah,
I don't even know what they are. I have them like secondhand. I'm not interested in hearing them.
See?
I thought I was going to steal this joke from John. I think Kawhi celebrated with bum fights.
He went to a Tech 9 show.
He's got that dark back. He's got that dark underbelly, man.
Yeah. I think Anthony Hopkins rebooted his software, and now he can feel emotion.
Yeah.
He's going to shoot Steph Curry in the back of the head.
Who's he guarding?
And all of who is
he guarding? It's
KD.
He's going to be guarding. He's going to be guarding Steph.
No,
I think
Steph might catch.
Steph's about to get some of that claw.
I think Siakam. Yeah, I think Siakam is a better play, especially if KD's at all hobbled. Then Siakam is actually.
Mark's going to be checking Andre Iguodala.
Oh, Mark's bringing them doubles. KD,
as I'm saying, yeah.
eventually, but when he comes
Look
back,
at those Vegas lines. KD is not playing
at all.
I mean, how healthy? Imagine, Chuck, you're Kevin Durant.
In most ways,
you spend your days
myself that way.
Searching Twitter for comments that children have made about you, so you can cuss them.
Usually,
you are very concerned about how you're perceived in the public.
Right.
You also are looking forward to your summer free agency. How healthy do you have to be to say, you know what, I'm going to go play basketball against the love child of Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, Kawhi Leonard? Like, are you going to risk, like, hey, this is the finals, I need to get out there if I'm 85%?
Right.
No, I don't think so. What if you're
you got to be Tom
Kevin
Brady
Durant,
after
Chuck.
going to the spa with Robert Kraft?
Tell me you're Kevin Durant. How quick are you coming back to play against Kawhi Leonard?
I think he doesn't care because he's going to get 3 rings, right? Like the historical narrative will be he has won 3 rings with Golden State and then went somewhere else, and then his legacy begins. Whatever he can win by himself is his legacy. But he's part of this 3-ring team, even if he doesn't play in the finals. I don't think he has that vision. I think he's on Twitter refreshing, searching his name. So I think he wants to get out there and at least...
You think he wants to play?
So
is he going to fight? Is he going to fight through the injury? Because my position is no. He will not fight through an injury. He will not risk re-injury or risk being embarrassed by Kawhi Leonard.
Well, we don't really know what the injury is.
It's a torn calf.
Right.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
No, but I mean, we don't know how serious or how threatening to his career to play on it is.
Muscle injuries, you don't want to play until their muscles are healed.
Right. So he may be on a different...
I'm a doctor.
He may be on a different timeline from his camp, who thinks it's better for him long term because he has workouts to attend, and people are going to have to watch him if he is a free agent and he hasn't already decided where he's going. Then he's going to have to do some stuff, and if he isn't 100%, then that might affect where he lands and how. Although I would sign Kevin Durant if he got his leg chopped off and they had to regrow it like Deadpool.
I just don't think he's coming back very soon, if at all. That's
so. What is Vegas saying, John?
John. What are these lines you mean? Because I feel like I saw it was Warriors were minus 275, right?
They're just all wrong, and the all the like lines for how many points Durant would have, how many games he would play. They're wrong. He's not playing.
Yeah, you don't think he's playing?
There's too much stink on it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I trust you because you're our...
Don't trust me.
Yeah, okay.
Also, another croissant question here. Rudy St. Clair asks, who's going to be the best player in the finals?
John Burr asks Rudy St. Clair, how was your night out with Chuck Anderson?
Yeah.
Don't ask him.
No complaints.
I think...
I love this question. This is a great question.
So historically, Steph has shredded the Raptors. Historically, hasn't played a lot against Kawhi. So if Kawhi is tasked with shutting down Steph, I think he can do it. He's peak LeBron defensively, and I think he's got the ability to really mess with Steph. And if that's the case, and Steph can't create, and they have the proper defensive stuff, I think he's going to look like the best player, although he may not be.
I mean, it comes down to, I think Kawhi right now is going to outperform Steph Curry in the finals.
Right.
So I'll say Kawhi is going to be the best player in the finals, although I think if we're talking about historically, I think I don't ever talk about the grand scheme of tiers of players in the NBA or anything. I leave that to Bill Simmons and others.
Yeah.
But I think historically Steph Curry is the better player
for sure.
Than Kawhi. I think
not in the playoffs.
See, and then this.
Also with this current stretch of Steph Curry without Durant in the playoffs is. He was ripping to shreds a Blazers team that's not that good at defense.
Right. And we were like, Kawhi has been great for like 6 years in the playoffs, and a couple of them he hasn't been playing.
No, he's been amazing,
insanely good since he was 21 against Miami in the playoffs. He's a monster, and this
was his coming out party.
Yeah, and we finally saw it. Him turn into whatever his ultimate Pokemon evolution. and now he's gonna do. I think take it to the Warriors.
Pick away.
I think I saw. I don't know how many years does it go now that the last something like 9 finals have featured, either 2 of the 3 of Steph, LeBron, or Kawhi.
Yeah,
it's either been one of those. Right. Kawhi versus Steph, LeBron versus Steph,
Since
LeBron versus Steph, LeBron versus, keeps going back. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, those were our listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire. If you want to submit your own question or to play some of those fun games like the Stone Cold Locks, unfortunately, John Burr has seized the lead in our Stone Cold
Where
Locks.
Where am I at?
I don't know, Chuck.
Dead last.
John.
Are you really? That sounds
No, you're not. You're fine. You're in the middle of the pack. John picking every series correctly so far has got him there, and also going with his never lock anything.
See,
never risk
everything.
points. Never risk points.
I wasn't going to talk about the basic conceit of the game being flawed.
If I would have correctly picked the winners of this series, my locking system would have been fine.
Yeah,
but I thought the Nuggets would beat the Blazers.
You doubled down on the right.
Yeah, I picked the Blazers to not win twice, and they won twice. Yeah. So that was a mistake.
Me too.
Me too, Chuck.
Me too.
Finally. Anyway, if you want to submit questions, you want to play some of these fantasy games with us, you do that by becoming a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Also, if you want some free Fast Break Breakfast stickers, write us a 5-star iTunes review, screenshot it, and then send it to my DMs at FastBreakBreak on Twitter. A couple of you have picked up the mantle there and written the iTunes reviews, though no one's claimed them and asked for stickers. That's cool, too. Totally cool, too.
Just drop it.
But if you need some stickers, and go to iTunes, write us a 5-star review.
Yeah, and we understand people's budgets are tight. If you can't come to Patreon and show us some love, we would love to have you. But if you got, 5 minutes, you're on the train, you're stuck in traffic, you don't drive and give an iTunes review.
No, don't try to do it. There's too many things
But
to
if
do
you're
there.
drunk late at night, if you're
riding front seat in an Uber,
do it.
Do
Just avoid eye contact with humanity and give us that 5-star iTunes review.
Thank you. 5-star iTunes review. Yeah. All right. Steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw?
Just the consistent dragging of Paul Pierce throughout social media, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. It's been one of the great joys of my life to watch Paul Pierce just become a whipping boy. He's just a laughingstock.
Is he leaning into it? I guess he couldn't.
Very difficult to tell if it's on purpose or not. He
has no.
He just
ability.
keeps. I think he just keeps making the wrong predictions. I don't feel like any of his predictions have been outlandish, other than after the game one, saying the Celtics are going to win this. He just kept
series over after game one.
Oh yeah, no that one. Yes, that one was terrible, and he deserved all the lumps he got.
Bucks got this, and then they
I don't
lost
think that's.
4 in a row.
I don't think it's unreasonable for a person to say the Bucks got this after being up 2-0 when they look like the far superior team.
Right.
No, I mean, that's my first apology of many, which is similar.
Right.
What's great is, yes, you are correct.
You're just great.
That
Paul
one
Pierce.
time, if he hadn't said that, but when he goes off on Dwayne Wade and all this stuff, and being a nudnik, which wasn't pre-planned, from what I read, he basically said that in a commercial break, and then
they're like, "Oh, let's do this."
Let's do this on air. We don't know what we're talking about.
They really seem to gang up on him.
That's like when we text sometimes.
Right? Yeah.
No, save it. I don't know if to save it.
But yeah, he's a great person for me to hate in the media landscape.
And it is fun because the avalanche of his opinions has been rolling.
Right.
We're on right at tip-off of Game 6 when he tweets out the buck emoji.
Right.
Everyone's just like, oh, like Milwaukee fans are like, oh, no! And
it's to the point where he's one of my least favorite players ever, and I do feel sorry for him. That's incredible.
That's pretty great. My best thing is the magic touch of Masai Ujiri. It's honestly a tad outrageous. It's a little too much. This is a man who traded. He fired the coach of the year, Dwayne Casey.
Balls.
Yeah, it takes onions. He trades away DeMar DeRozan for a 1-year rental of Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
He's like, whatever, we just got to go for it. I mean, you don't have to get that much credit for trading for Marc Gasol because, as John mentioned earlier, didn't give anything up.
Right.
Didn't really hurt the Raptors. Yes,
I think Valanciunas is an asset that they I don't think Memphis got robbed.
He's a bad team asset.
I mean, he scores points in the greater thing.
No, he'll get you from 20 to 40 wins.
Yeah.
If once you win 40 wins, you don't really need him anymore.
But you had a guy who was ready to leave for nothing.
They did risk if Kawhi leaves, then Masai took on the risk of Kawhi could leave, and then Marc Gasol's going to opt in, and I'll have very very few options, wiggle room under the salary cap. So that was a risk. But he made all these moves, and it worked out perfectly. They actually made it to the finals. It's crazy that he could trade maybe the most important player in his franchise's history, a beloved player, his. The remaining best player's best friend. Kyle Lowry's best friend. So he trades DeMar DeRozan. He fires Dwane Casey, promotes from within a new head coach, and then makes the deadline deal for Gasol, and it works out to make the finals. And that is some... I mean, normally being a general manager, it doesn't work out this perfectly.
And he hired a head coach with his own branded hats. Which is the most important thing.
That guy
My girlfriend can't get over the Nick Nurse hats and his just general appearance.
His general appearance, him carrying that guitar everywhere, John.
He's Jonathan Lipnicki.
He's new Nashville, man.
Yeah. He's Jonathan Lipnicki all grown up.
I'm worried he's going to be like that Boondock Saints documentary.
Oh my
where
God.
They flew too close to the sun too fast, and then Harvey Weinstein is trying to kill him with a car drive-by.
Well, Nick Nurse is a new dad too, and Kawhi just had a kid.
Really?
Yeah. So it's that's good juju when you got something to play for. When you got that new baby at home, and an excuse to get out of the house and let someone listen to her cry. Like that's an important thing for a father.
I got guys who I know people who have died on tables due to their drug problems who kicked their heroin habits because of a baby. Mm-hmm. You can do anything with a baby.
I have a question. How do you guys think? How do DeMar DeRozan and Dwane Casey feel?
Really, really.
Has there ever been a TV
fierce level sulking?
Has there ever been a TV show that didn't win an Emmy until a character left and then it won a bunch?
The Daily Show?
Oh, yeah.
Cheers. Craig Kilborn. They probably feel like Shelley Long. Let's go with Cheers.
Shelley Long and Craig Kilborn. Yeah.
He wanted to do movies.
He was so great in Old School.
Craig Kilborn was great in Old School.
He was.
That's up there with Dwight Yoakam for non-actor performance of true buttholery. It's such a convincing performance that you have a hard time being he's just like that. He's that bad.
That guy.
Do you think... Because DeMar DeRozan probably feels some joy for his friends, or is it too painful?
No.
Is it too painful?
This is
like me. It's too painful.
Yeah, this is your Marc Gasol discomfort ratcheted up to it was the only employer you've had since college,
right?
And the janitors. He probably knows concession people at the arena. This isn't the people in his Instagram world and social media world. His whole life was in Toronto, and all his friends are putting "We the North" on their Instagram feeds, and he's just sad and rich and alone.
He's sad and rich in San Antonio.
He was balling on some beach I saw recently, putting really emo captions on stuff.
I mean, I feel like Dwane Casey may be one of the rappers to fail. I feel like you'd have to. If someone fired me and I was if I was coach of the year, I got fired, as much as I feel like I would like my former guys I was teammate, coach of.
This isn't bold. Yes.
Yeah, I would be like, no, I don't want someone to do better than me that I got replaced by. So clearly he's hurting.
I think Dwane Casey's fine because he's busy running his team still right now. He's probably scouting and doing all the things he does for draft prep. He's probably less sad.
He's not watching the finals.
He's definitely not watching the finals. Yeah. But DeMar's probably gonna
not watch the finals.
Not watch it either.
Anyway, John.
Dwayne's way sadder.
John, what was your best thing?
Well, I can't believe you brought up the word magic and GM skills and didn't comment on the one and only Irvin Magic Johnson.
Shout out. He's just living his life.
He's
Outed as a trash person, and not one but two exposés this week.
So
wow,
great.
is that way?
What was the second one?
How can you be in an article where Rob Pelinka makes up an insane Kobe Bryant Heath Ledger encounter that never happened and still come out as the villain?
How has no one asked Kobe about this? How has Kobe not weighed in yet?
I feel like we're awaiting an answer.
Kobe is really busy making his ESPN insider videos that are terrible.
Right.
That we should probably.
I will never watch those.
No, I'm probably going to lampoon.
I'm never going to watch those or another Woody Allen film. I gotta say, our friends, the Roundabout Rock guys, were on this Heath Ledger thing.
Yeah, they sniffed this out.
It was like a year ago. Like when the story first broke, they were like, "No, that didn't happen." Because that doesn't match up. Anyway, but
sometimes information is used best as punctuation. Maybe it didn't matter that he lied then.
Oh no!
But in this framed here, it's the perfect exclamation point.
I think a guy like
that Can Jam Ram Jam article.
So a guy like Pelinka lived this life of just perfect like luck. He's tall, looks like Rob Lowe, played on with the Fab Five, goes to L.A., becomes Kobe's manager or agent. Like he's probably gotten away with telling multiple lies about his life for decades.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is what he does to people. He's in a room and he just starts charming. And
he's the John Hamm character from 30 Rock. the doctor he's so good looking, no one's ever told him he's wrong about stuff.
He's really bad at what he does.
Yeah.
He's Rob Lowe.
Tom
and
Cruise.
Yeah. So that
Dear
guy,
God.
he's a mess.
So, I mean, we've mentioned all the Lakers foibles. The article didn't move me that much. It was like, yeah, no, it's still a mess. This is everything you told me. It's a mess.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were surprised at how petty Magic is, but I certainly wasn't.
No.
I mean, I want to be sensitive to the panic attacks they're mentioning, but also that to me was like, I assume it working in an NBA team, sometimes your boss is like, hey, if you don't do well, you're going to get fired.
And also,
is that wrong? I mean,
Magic comes in 2017, y'all were bad for a long time.
They're terrible.
Sometimes to shake up an organization, I've managed people, you got to call them names. Some people don't do well with that.
Right.
And some people don't like when you tell them where to go and how to get there. But when you work together, you got to sometimes shake a tree to let a nut fall out, you know.
But do you do it while driving around in like a Tesla while not doing your job?
No.
Would if I could.
Trying.
Opposite of best thing, opposite of our steak and eggs is the cream of wheat. Worst of week. What's the worst thing you got?
Man, there were no arrests in Toronto after they won.
That's the most Canadian jive ever, man.
That's trash.
That is some cooking. That is some Amsterdam cooking the books.
Y'all got that's.
You're telling me there was no nothing.
I mean, there is. I actually did some research.
Oh, okay.
And
there
there's
you get
videos.
To why the cops will never legalize it here.
Legalize it.
There are videos of Canadians just jumping on cop cars, and the cop is inside just laughing. And in my head, it's like, that's 4 bullets to your chest in Baltimore, friend.
Yeah.
In your back.
And yeah, so
run away.
In your back.
Right. You can't.
Those magical bullets that go into your back. But yeah, like that's not how it's done. If you're going to participate in the greatest American sport product, Canada, y'all need to step up, light a trash can on fire at least.
Yeah,
slap a public official. You have free health care. Get busy. Punch a stranger. Whatever, dude. Don't be like Drake.
I mean, there were like there was like 100
tear the city apart.
Did they
over hockey?
I'm sure, but hockey's different. I'm not even going to talk.
I was going to talk about what like Happy Valley did when they took away the Joe Pa statue. Weren't there like 100 felonies?
Yeah.
There's probably paternos on the police force, and they're still arresting people.
Exactly.
If West Virginia beats like West Virginia State, they burn 6,000 couches.
That's just an alternate energy source.
Weren't there riots over Vancouver Canucks or something?
I don't know.
What happened?
I don't know anything about hockey.
I would love to Google Canadian riots.
Yeah, Canucks
2011
riot.
Vancouver Stanley Cup riot.
Vancouver is no Ontario.
$5 million in damage. What? Is that just the difference between Western Canada?
I don't know.
It lasted for over 12 hours, gentlemen.
Oh wow. I got one from like
non-fatal injuries.
It's like
that's not a riot. What are they talking about? 0 deaths? Never mind. We'll teach you how to riot.
You don't die. It's not a riot.
My worst thing is the poor Charlotte Hornets. They're the only Eastern Conference franchise now to never make the finals.
Oh,
with the Raptors getting in. Sorry, Charlotte, you're not in, and you're not going to be in anytime soon.
But they're living vicariously through the sons of Charlotte, the Currys, and I think that you probably have a higher percentage of fans there of Golden State at this point than probably of the Hornets in Charlotte.
Yeah, there was some confusion.
I have friends from Charlotte. They love the Currys. They love the Warriors.
Technically, the Atlanta Hawks. It was the St. Louis Hawks. But
was it
when they made the finals?
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a franchise. I know the Lakers are still counting the Minneapolis things.
Yeah, they are.
I think NBA history should start when I was born. I'll be real.
Real talk. 1983.
Yeah, who cares what the Celtics did in the 60s?
I don't.
There was 10 teams.
And there was all white guys. None of them could hit the backboard with their hands.
Do we lose John?
Oh, no, I'm just fantasizing about George Mikan right now.
Yeah.
Couldn't feel more differently. I just want to watch those old games.
Yeah, Pistol Pete.
In my 4x3 aspect ratio with my
That's
with
right.
My
watch those
Mikan
games and be like, I feel like I could have scored 12 points in this game.
Woo.
John, what's
Bob
your...
Cousy had 6 assists and 42 turnovers. That was a ball distributor.
John, what's your steak? No, what's your cream of wheat? Worst thing?
So I can't put it better than Ray Ratteau put it on Deadspin, but reading about what's happening to the city of Oakland despite their team's great success is super sad. So I'll just say, without bringing the podcast down, go check out that article. The city of Oakland has kind of lost. If you think Seattle's had a rough go of it with sports lately, what Oakland's about to go from championships to nothing is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that.
I don't know. Do the A's still play there? Or are they moving?
In theory.
In theory?
Yeah.
That may be the straw that breaks their back, honestly.
Yeah.
The A's no matter what the A's do, no matter how much they do to defeat the horrendous system baseball has in place, they're never going to be able to get to that hump for monetary reasons.
Well, let's go to a real quick scattered smother covered. We don't always do predictions. Should we do predictions? What are we thinking in the finals?
Dubs.
You got Warriors? Are you sticking with your Warriors sweep like you did before the playoffs began?
In the game, yes.
Okay.
But
well, yeah, in our
538, I think 538 has Raptors a 55% favorite, which I guess is negligible. But I'll do Dubs in, let's say 5.
Okay.
Wow.
So you think comfortable Dubs win?
I think the Dubs might even lose the first game, and then the anger comes. And I think Draymond Green will be the best player in the series.
My concern is what how does Toronto do with Draymond? I think they can handle even if KD. So you're saying 5 with KD being for sure out the first 3 games.
I love KD being out. Got
so
no
this
problem
is given. See, I don't buy into that, and I think it's going to cause an issue with their bench depth, because if Boogie's not playing, they're going to count on Andrew Bogut and Kevon Looney. Now Looney,
I like Kevon Looney.
I think
Kevon Looney is a better fit for what the Warriors do than DeMarcus Cousins.
I don't know. I don't believe in those guys providing. Maybe Bogut can, but I don't think they can provide the kind of
what's
pop
been
that
wrong with Kevon Looney?
I think
he's been good.
He's been good, but I don't think it's going to.
You just said you wanted Bogut over him.
I know. I'm saying their bigs give me concern, and I like the bigs for Toronto.
It seems like this is going to be an easier
they have played
series,
no one.
maybe for Marc Gasol.
Yes, this is.
I know he has to now deal with like Steph Curry off those screens, but he doesn't have to chase his guy on the perimeter.
No,
he can start all his possessions in the paint and not worry about like going out to the perimeter.
He'll be traditional, and he's going to be facing dopes on defense.
Yeah.
I think right now, Nick Nurse, if he's smart, is game planning how to make Mark Jokic in this series more of a facilitator and distributor in case Kawhi doesn't turn into a superstar again.
I feel like for the first time in a long stinking time, the Western Conference representative for the finals did not have to try much to make the finals. I guess maybe that's disrespecting the Rockets too much. Mm-hmm. But like,
are you going to go back to your punch in the mouth thing?
What?
Maybe. Sort of. I think normally the Eastern Conference team, every previous last 10 years, they got to the finals and they hadn't been playing anyone in that neighborhood. The Western Conference team had been really going through this gauntlet, testing themselves. I think for the first times, and even if the Rockets are better than the Raptors and the Bucks, the Warriors had 3 weeks to forget about that.
Right.
They went pretty easy. I mean, they started some bums.
Yeah.
Against the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, let's try. Damian Jones hasn't played in a while. Let's
see what Quinn
go get
Cook's
him.
doing.
Yeah. So like, they were playing 12 guys a game on the roster in these games. It was pretty easy. I think the Raptors and Bucks were actually hitting their stride. Mm-hmm. I thought those teams were playing great by the end of those playoff series. So I think that's going to be really tough for the Warriors to adjust to play all of a sudden a really good defense. They haven't seen a really good defense in this playoffs.
I want to get back to Chuck's point about using Marc Gasol as a facilitator, which I would love for them to do also. However, I've seen nothing from how they've used Marc Gasol to show they'll do that. His usage percentage is at like 6th or 7th best on the team, 13. Yeah. They don't really use Mark the way that
I feel like in games 5 and 6. In games 5 and 6, it wasn't Mark being passive. They just never passed him. They never threw him the ball.
Exactly. Yeah.
He would be wide open, and Siakam's driving to the goal double teamed, and like Siakam doesn't have that skill yet to pass out.
But I think
exactly. Siakam, I think, is kind of the principal issue in getting Mark the ball because Siakam handles the ball a ton.
So
second to
but who's going to guard?
More than Kyle
but here's
Lowry.
The thing: if no Durant, who's going to guard Siakam?
Probably.
I don't know. I mean, who's going to guard Kawhi and Siakam?
Yeah.
Siakam might be able to murder.
I think Clay could mess with Kawhi enough and put Dre on him in big time situations.
I mean, obviously, if Danny Green, who has finals experience, if anything, if he comes alive at all,
shoots 35%.
Right. If he gets 30% of his shots, that's such a big game changer. And this team is so deep. I think the Raptors, if Van Fleet hits 40% of his shots, not 80, 40.
And Norm
if he falls
plays
back down
Norm.
and Norm plays okay, I think the Warriors could be in a lot of trouble. And I'm tempted to be like, this feels like to me that Pistons team with Billups and Hamilton that upset the Lakers in 5 games, and almost no one picked the Pistons.
You're asking who's going to guard Pascal Siakam. How about any combination of like first team defensive, second team defensive, third team defensive players, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green? How about Andre Iguodala?
No.
How about? I mean,
no, I'm saying,
I don't see these
Iggy
mismatches.
was injured towards the end of the Blazer series, and I don't know how good he's going to be. But rest his health.
If Iggy's guarding, you assume Iggy's guarding Kawhi. I mean, Draymond is going to. I mean, they're going to have to play Draymond at center, I think, to try to abuse Gasol. But Gasol's had a lot of great career success.
Right.
I don't know if it matters because it wasn't on this high of a level.
And that's my question. My big concern with Toronto is
I think Siakam's on Green.
So that's my thing. Like, who
could be
with the team? It's the young guys that I'm worried about. And
I feel like those starting lineups, it matches up as. I mean, not as well as you can, but like. It seems like it could favor the Raptors, but then I come up on this issue. So here's the thing. I want to pick the Raptors to win this series, but do I think the Raptors are going to win? Like, I guess I'd have to pick Raptors in 7. Like, and I'm still nervous. I'm still damaged from Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry in the Western Conference, in the Eastern Conference Finals, I mean, have to give him his credit. He hit 50% of his shots, 46.5% of his threes. He averaged 19 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 5 assists. So, you could say he put to bed those demons for his past playoff performances, but I still feel him, and I still don't want to pick him in this thing. And it's like I don't think they're going to win in 6. I don't think they're going to win in Oracle, and I can't pick him in 5. That's just stupid.
Right, that's stupid.
So now I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to pick Raptors in 5, But that feels crazy.
Please do that so I can hold it over your head forever. Just do it.
Yeah, I gotta go. Like it's a literal coin flip to me, and I think the Warriors are an unstoppable machine, but I think the Raptors have this thing that I just can't describe. How I just when I watch them, I think they're just going to pull it out, and I just want to see that first game.
It was not that long ago they were dead to everyone.
It's true.
No, and I had.
So it's true. I mean, they almost blew it against,
especially you, Chuck.
They were on the ropes against the Sixers.
You were a Bucks big guy.
A Sixers team. I thought wasn't that good. Maybe the Sixers were better than we thought. I don't know.
And then maybe this Toronto run, they faced the best string of teams and have the sharpest samurai blade, and that stuff I think happens.
One could argue, like John, when you and me picked the Raptors to make the finals before the playoffs. One could argue this team is finding its sea legs.
Right.
It's finally getting better and better, and they're figuring it out, and they're coming together. Because this is a team that, they did the whole load management with Kawhi. Now Kawhi's playing every game. Marc Gasol was a late season addition. So one could argue, they're gelling. This is the best they're going to be. Right. You also have that 9 days off for the Warriors.
Something you keep saying that you keep saying team, and I feel like the Warriors are playing as a team much better than the Raptors are. I feel like the Raptors have been carried.
Is Alfonso McKinney still going to bring it? No, you're right, John. That's a very good point. I mean,
I feel like that's like the biggest
Kawhi's
thing.
Been the best thing we've seen.
Like Kawhi is, and we've seen Kawhi do this with the Spurs. Kawhi is going to have to keep doing this. I feel like he's going to have to single-handedly beat the Dubs. Like I really want what Chuck said to be true for them. Oh, let's remember that we have this amazing facilitator in Marc Gasol, and he'll make things happen. Let's remember that we have this guy doing this. But instead, I worry that they're just going to keep doing what they're doing, which, to their credit, has gotten them there.
But Game 6 was an eye opener to me because I was on that side of the thing too, where I thought Kawhi was the reason that they're there. But Kawhi didn't play his best ball Game 6, and a lot of the Raptors around him stepped up.
Same with Game 5.
Right, and Game 5...
He's getting all the assists. Like, Kawhi's getting all these assists all of a sudden.
So I think they have the ability to counter. I think it's easy for either Steph to go cold, and that could be an event that happens where the Raptors build their edge there, or the Raptors bench could go cold and Danny Green can continue to not make shots and Fred VanVleet comes back to reality. It's going to be an interesting thing. I have no clue, but if I have to pick, it's Raptors in 7.
One thing that concerns me about the Warriors is also their bench units. Like when they go with a Sean Livingston, Alfonso McKinney, Bogut, in like if it's Clay or Iggy or Clay and Draymond, I feel like the Raptors actually could annihilate those lineups. Like Sean Livingston was awesome against the Blazers after looking like he was dead in the first 2 rounds.
Right.
So it seems like an opening for them. But again,
I agree, but I don't even think it's relevant. Like you're just not going to see it that often.
So I don't know.
They only have to annihilating them for 3 or 4 minute stretches isn't going to do it in the finals.
Yeah. I mean, but that could be the difference where they build their 10-point, or make their 10-point comeback.
Yeah, you can have it. I feel like you can. The Warriors right now, any lead is not safe. So
here's my same with the Raps.
All right, here's
the Raps. The Raps are like the Raps on off when Kawhi is out. It's like far worse than
it's terrible. It is.
Well, he's playing 46 minutes now.
Right.
Yeah, like
where poor Budenholzer only played.
I'm desperately looking for point.
All right, here's my prediction. Game 1, Warriors. Game 2, Raptors. Game 3, Warriors. Game 4, KD comes back. Raptors. Game 5, Raptors. Game 6, Warriors.
KD has 50 points.
Game 7 coming back to Toronto. No.
5
Strike
overtime.
that. Strike that. Game 6 in Oracle. Raptors in 6.
Woo! I just want everyone to have a good time.
And Marc Gasol to win a title.
Yes. I think really because I've looked at the rosters, I've tried to read about it and listen to other people who know more about this than me talk about it. I don't know what's going to happen. No one does.
If Kyle Lowry shoots 35% and if Danny Green and Kyle Lowry shoot 35% combined, that's my caveat.
Right.
Raptors in 6.
Yeah. No, I can see that. So there are things where I'm like, okay, if Kawhi goes for 45 and 10 every game, they win. if Steph shoots under 36% from three, the Warriors lose. Things like that for me, where I don't know.
I'm also having trouble. If you would have told me at the beginning of the playoffs. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, John. Go.
The Warriors have won titles when their best players have played terribly, and Andre Iguodala has gotten the MVP. The Raptors, I don't think.
Do not continue that Steph played terribly narrative. He had a bad game.
Okay, you're right.
Average 26, 6 and 6.
Should have been the MVP. But where there's been this type of the Warriors don't need transcendent performances from certain players to win at all.
I think I think they do.
Do you?
That's why I'm going to argue they do this season. They no longer have the depth they had the first couple of years, and there's no Kevin Durant. So
Zaza.
If you told
I can't
us,
believe we waited this long to throw Zaza out there.
If you told us before the playoffs that the Raptors and Warriors were playing the finals, and there's no Durant, we would have picked Raptors in 5. I think.
Yeah.
So just because the Rockets laid down and died like they do. And just because the Raptors the Warriors continued their dominance over the Trailblazers, we now I feel it too. I feel like it's the underdog pick, obviously, to pick the Raptors.
Right.
But it seems like if they don't have Kevin Durant,
people are picking the Raptors now.
Are they?
I think it's
they're
the
favorites.
Oh, man.
I think it's the safe pick because there's no upside. There's no downside. If you win, you're like, hey, man, I told you the champs were going down.
Crap,
and if they
that's
lose,
what I was going to do next week.
Right. That was my move. So prognostication silly, and subscribe to our Patreon.
Let's move to the awards segment of the program. There was only 2 games, but
I know.
The International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award is given each week to the worst performance in a box score. This week, we only have 3 nominees, all from the same game, Game 5 of Bucks Raptors. Chris Middleton was 2 for 9, 6 points, 10 boards, and 10 assists, though. That's pretty good. Just if he could have scored double digits, he would have had a triple-double. Poor Chris, future Grizzly. 2 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. Pascal Siakam, Pascal who likes to shoot a lot. Siakam, 5 for 15, 14 points, 13 boards, 2 assists, a steal, 3 blocks. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
A
Blaze
turnover.
it, Pascal. Blaze it.
4 personal fouls.
Styles
And
P.
then Mark the Shark Gasol.
Oh, Jesus.
We needed some nominees. I thought he was a rock in this game. However, the box score just says 1 for 6, 4 points, 6 rebounds, no assists, a block, a turnover, 3 personal fouls. So Chris Middleton with 2 for 9, 6 points, 10 boards, 10 assists. Siakam 5 for 15, 14 points, 13 boards, a steal and 3 blocks. Gasol 1 for 6, 4 points, 6 boards, a block.
Well, when you say Gasol is a rock, I'm assuming you mean Charles S. Dutton.
Yeah,
Live.
right.
I'm going with Mark. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sick animal.
I feel like the 0 assists.
Because you're sick, because you're actually wounded and rested.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you, but I'm gonna go Chuck Sell and stay Catholic over here. Go with the Catholic French theologian Blaise Pascal. Give me Pascal Siakam.
I can't do it to a man who had 4 stocks. The 3 blocks, 1 steal, and 14 points, 13 boards. I gotta also go Mark the Shark, even though 6 attempts is normally not even a thing we'd consider.
I don't think that's Mark's first eye shot, believe it or not.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
Wow. I just had this mind-blowing event.
What is it?
Pascal's a programming language.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
And they needed him.
That's why they for Kawhi.
For Kawhi.
Oh, well done, Chuck.
Damn.
Well played. Also, a not that frequent segment. This day in International Stackhouse of Pancakes history.
Holla.
On May 29th.
Edit out that holla.
On May 29th, 1993, Michael Jeffrey Jordan was 3 for 18 of the field in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. However, he still finished with 22 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and the Bulls won over the Knicks. You guys remember this, right?
Was that the game John Starks dunked on him?
I don't remember.
Because that's the only game Knicks fans remember.
The 93 Eastern Conference Finals, the Knicks were the 1 seed. The Knicks were up 2-0.
Yes.
And in Game 3, Michael Jordan went 3 for 18.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bulls won by 20. What is that? Then this
Scottie Pippen.
So this is exciting. The very next game, Game 4, Michael Jordan had 40. No, had 54.
Yeah, he went
54 in the next game. So yeah, I can't get over that. That things I've forgotten. The New York Knicks up 2-0 on Michael Jordan, and then in that game 3, the crucial backs against the wall game 3, Jordan was 3 for 18.
Dang.
And they still win by 20.
He stunk.
So anyway, that was this day in International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award history. All right, par fadeaway, gentlemen.
How many of those games do you think went over 100 points? Maybe 2?
Yeah, I think not many.
He scored over 100 points.
I was reading those. They were
the good old days
they were
when
not,
no one scored
some
94
to 88, 89 to 86.
I really hated those NBA years. I remember watching the Heat and going, this is just bad to watch.
That Tayshaun, because we were passing, obviously we're in the playoffs, so it's always this is 12 years ago today. Tayshaun Prince blocked Reggie Miller to send the game into overtime at 69. Wow.
Yuck.
Anyway, par fadeaway, gentlemen. What are we looking forward to?
Keith, I need advice.
Yes, John. Advice. Yes, John.
So, aforementioned girlfriend. Then this is proof that that this is progress. Interested in the finals this year.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Nice.
How do you watch sports with your girlfriend?
I think one mistake I make a lot is be attentive and ready to answer questions. A lot of times I'm watching the NBA games and Abby will ask me a question and like I'm too engrossed with something or I'm doing the Twitter and watching or I'm watching the 2 games. And then she's like, I'm trying to engage with you about your hobby. I'm like, that's my bad. That's my bad. And also I don't listen. I have that thing, which I talked about a lot, where I don't hear the commentators. I literally don't hear them. So she'll ask me a question based on what they said. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you have to tell me what they said. So I think is be ready to answer all the questions. Or if you have, Abby loves anecdotes about guys hanging out off the court.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that could help you. If you have some like Steph and Clay stories ready, if you have Klay Thompson, like the signed toaster thing, if you have some stories about how Marc Gasol is doing this for all his buddies back in Memphis and he's like acknowledged it and talked about it.
That's part of why she's into this because Allie has watched a ton of Grizzlies games.
Yeah. So I think that'll help.
So I have a girlfriend and we've been together about a year. She's a doctor. And she's we got into
nice humble brag, but keep going.
She's a smart physician who will save my life one day if she hasn't already. But better
get cracking.
So we were watching the Bucks play somebody, and she was obsessed with the Lopez twins,
right?
And then also the Morai twins.
The twins are good.
The twins were playing twins, and she was obsessed with it. So we basically went into a thing where we wanted to figure out where twins excelled in sports and why, and maybe having that twin created the environment and the incubation for that success. And you already have athletic skill that puts you in that top percentage. So so that's what I did. We were also on mushrooms.
Abby loves the twins too. So she loves the twins too.
And brothers, she's super into brothers. She loves Steph and Seth.
Right.
The stories of brothers playing. And she just likes the backstories.
So I need to be backstory heavy.
Yeah, go backstory. So she doesn't care about.
You can also make them up.
Reaffirm my intention to do nothing and throw her in the deep end and let her sink or swim. But
tell her players have been in movies she's never heard of. And will never see.
Tell her Klay Thompson was discovered because he was in the film Step Up.
Right.
I'm gonna say here's my attempt. I'm gonna tell her that Steph Curry also played Grey Tongue in Game of Thrones.
Boom. Grey Worm?
Yeah, Grey Worm, yeah.
Yeah, tell her that Steve...
Grimma Dragon Tongue.
Tell her that Steve Kerr was in an episode of Salute Your Shorts.
I'm going to tell her Steve Kerr played Brad Dourif's role in The Hobbit.
Ooh, and make up mad middle names. Everybody's got a weird middle name.
My par fadeaway is how will the Houston Rockets fall apart this day?
Yeah.
It's been a continuous run of Tillman Furtada firing coaches he doesn't want to pay.
That's a drama, bro.
Apparently, maybe Daryl Morey didn't want Mike D'Antoni to come back.
No, he's just firing his assistants.
And then they got rid of the assistants.
D'Antoni has too much chutzpah. He's too much man.
Now Woj, in my mind, Woj is doing pro Tillman Fertitta propaganda by saying they're willing to trade whoever. They're not trading anybody. They're just trying to counteract the narrative that's built that they're just pinching pennies and do whatever they will take to save money for that cash poor owner. So as someone who hates the Rockets, I'm enjoying it.
Has anyone's currency been marginalized more than Woj's?
I don't know. I feel like everything Woj does now is it's so blatantly transparent to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Woj bomb used to mean something, man.
Well, now it's like, he's just pushing this ESPN article. There's no news here. Yeah. Or it's like, this is just him trying to stay good graces with the Rockets.
Right.
Saying they'll do whatever it takes. Or they're trying to throw Chris Paul under the bus to make Chris Paul
He went from
out.
Lester Bangs to Leni Riefenstahl fast. Yeah. He's just part of the machine now.
He's the master of whispers, and now he's we all don't care about him. Everybody is good until they get old, and then you hate them. Right?
Oh, I hate that, but you may be right.
Yeah. So my parfait away is a little song.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage.
So,
game of scones.
We got only 3 times in NBA history have a Mario and a Luigi played in the same game.
Okay.
Okay.
So would that be Hazonia and Datomi?
No. Mario Bernard Chalmers.
Okay.
And Luigi Datomi played against each other 3 times.
Okay.
Who scored the most points?
I mean,
this is it. That's it. Whoever.
It feels like it would be Chalmers, so I'm glad John said it because I was going to go Luigi.
Because it's going to be Luigi, right?
It was Luigi.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Gigi Datomi.
Gigi won. And that's what Keith looks like. He looks like kind of like a trailer park Luigi Datomi.
Luigi Datomi. Anyway, good stuff, gentlemen. If you want more Fast Break Breakfast, you can get that at patreon.com/Fast Break Breakfast. Do us a favor. If you want some stickers, write us a 5-star iTunes review. If you want the stickers, send me a screenshot of your iTunes review and DM it to me on Twitter at Fast Break Break. Make sure you follow us there. Follow the Chuck on Twitter at The Mighty Chuck. Or John at Master John Burr. That's Jon, like the perverts spell it.
Mm-hmm. The weirdos.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook. All right, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fast break, man. You understand?